In this video we're going to review the settings in the feature edit toolbar. One of the most important settings we can have in the feature edit toolbar is the settings for the auto Z function. This is going to be the settings for how we conflate features to the point cloud surface. We can do this on the fly as we do edits in the feature edit toolbar, so it's a pretty powerful feature. But first we need to set up a point cloud task to be used in this feature edit toolbar settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the feature edit toolbar settings right up here. Go to the Auto Z tab. You can see we don't have a conflation task already set up. Now we'll go over to the point cloud task tab in the bottom left. Click on the gear icon in the top right. We're going to add a conflation task. We're going to call it Auto Z. Click OK. Click OK again. We're going to pull up the Auto Z point cloud task from this drop down. For output file, simply choose project path here at the top right. We're not actually going to set up a project path because it's just going to be using those conflation settings we're creating in this point cloud task, but we still have to have at least some kind of output settings so we can save the settings of the point cloud task. So for conflation method, we're going to choose summarize Z. So once we click on that, it's going to have a drop down. Click on summarize Z. More than likely when we want to choose surface Z for our conflation method, so that's what we're going to choose. Click OK. And for source points, whatever your ground points are, whatever your surface points, so we want to leave out points that may be classified out, such as vegetation or conveyor, buildings, vehicles, things like that. So let's go ahead and click on source points. Alright, so I'm going to uncheck all here. And I'm just going to choose the created or never classified setting. One thing I like to do a lot of times too, let's say eventually I'll classify this data set, I'll classify all the ground into the ground classification, and I'll have all the vegetation, power lines, buildings, vehicles, all the things, the noise, all that's classified into the proper classifications, and I have my ground classified properly as well. Well, I can go ahead and choose these three because it's unlikely that I'm going to put any of my other classifications into these three. So I'll go ahead and choose create never classified, unclassified, and ground. That's my classifications here that we're going to be conflating to. We're just going to ignore the other classes. It's not going to conflate to those. So I'm going to go ahead and choose apply here at the bottom. That's going to confirm that. I'm going to hit reset here. Once I hit reset, it's setting all the values in here to the default values depending on what tab I'm in. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and choose the Auto Z function in the edit feature conflation task. Also for create, you can set up different Auto Z functions for creating or editing features, but for this example we're going to use the same settings for both. You can also set up your constant Z value here as well. So if you're editing a feature and you know you want that feature to be at the specific elevation, you can set that here as well. You can change symbology settings here. These are all of our confirmation dialogues. So basically every time you use any of these functions is going to have a confirmation dialog pop up saying, are you sure you want to do this? You can turn some of these off if you would like, or all of them. We've got some different options here. So there's a few other options in the feature edit toolbar I'd like to discuss. So we have a simplified geometry. This is where you're going to basically reduce the vertices of a polygon or a line, something like that, and you're telling it your maximum move distance when you do that simplification. Respace, you're adding vertices, and you're setting the spacing here and telling it whether you want to keep the original vertices or not. We have some buffer options in the feature edit toolbar. This is just setting the distance. A situation where you might use that is just to maybe check the buffering for your control point layout. Make sure you have I may set this to a certain buffer just to see how the circles are overlapping for control point layout, something like that, just to see what kind of coverage I have with my control points. So that would be a situation. You can buffer any polygon. This is settings for how it's going to be buffered. Some settings for creating points from selected features. Merge line options. It's basically going to tell it how to do its tests when it's doing that. Enable snapping, we're going to go over that in a little bit. I usually leave this disabled because we have some hotkeys that we can use for snapping when we're using the feature edit tools. Profile settings, you can do some feature edits in the profile view, and usually it's just set to moving those features up and down vertically. You're moving vertices or lines vertically. This is going to allow that those settings to be changed horizontally as well, and union and intersect settings as well. So this is pretty much all I wanted to show with the feature edit toolbar settings. So once we start to create features, we're going to have the Auto Z already set up, and in our next video we'll call it feature edit toolbar number 2. We'll go over some of the tools and using that Auto Z feature that we set up.